Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the very first Corvette Wednesday. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, go down there and hit that subscribe button. Also, if it's not too much work, I'd really appreciate it if you like the video. Since just yesterday was 2 months of ownership of this Corvette, I thought it would be fun to tell you guys some of my favorite things about it, and maybe some of the things that I'm not 100% in love with, just to give you a better idea of what it's like to actually have one of these things, and not daily drive it, but I do drive it as much as possible, and it definitely isn't a garage queen, so I have a different perspective than, say, some of the owners that buy these things and just stick them in a garage and look at them. So one thing I can definitely say is this is a nice weather car. It's not because I care so much about keeping it clean, it's not so much because I'm worried about it getting rained on, because I know that's going to happen. It's a car, I bought it to drive, not to look at. But what I'm worried about is these tires are so wide that they sort of seem to act a little bit like skis. Now don't get me wrong, this car does have an actual weather mode on the traction control systems, but it doesn't help when your tires are so wide that every puddle or standing water that you hit, you're skating. Now, it does keep you from spinning off the line, it does limit your torque, and it keeps the throttle application a little bit more soft, but what it can't help you with is going down the interstate and you hit a puddle and the tail of the car just kind of skitters around a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm a professional driver and I'm the best driver in the world and this and that, but I have ultimate confidence in my own abilities when I'm in my car. And I don't like to drive it in the rain. It makes me nervous. It makes me feel like it's trying to kill me. He wants to hear it. I love brightening people's day, and I know when cars go by me, when I'm wanting to hear them, it brightens my day. So if you ever buy me and you need a little bit of a day brightener, just let me know. I'll be sure to hit it for you. I would say my favorite thing about this car as a whole, I know it kind of sounds silly being a fast car and all that, and all the things that it can do as a car, probably my favorite thing is the fact that this roof right here detaches and sticks in that trunk. I can go anywhere I want to. I can go on any length of trip I want to, providing that I don't have too much baggage back there or anything. And I can pop my roof off, and I can stick it back there, and then if I need it or I want it, I'll pop it right back on. In my opinion, that's far superior to a soft top convertible, because I do not want to lose the rigidity that you lose when you have a soft top. It's just not a great way to make a chassis as stiff with a soft top as it does with a hard top. And you can feel it. You can actually feel it in this car. When you take this top off versus when the top's in, you can feel the flexes, especially when I pull into my driveway. You can actually hear the pops and cracks when the top is off. When the top is on, it's a very stiff, very solid thing. So I don't know, I could be crazy, it could just be making noises on the interior materials or whatever, but to me it seems to make a measurable difference. This car can be used for pretty much anything though. I'm cruising around town right now, as you can see. Been driving a little bit on some country roads, a little bit of wide open areas. It's awesome. Put it in touring mode, put on your favorite song and cruise. Or if you prefer to just hear the engine, turn it on track mode exhaust and you got a V8 Symphony going on right back there. And believe me, it's better than just about anything you could put through these speakers, so something to consider when you're driving around. Maybe just leave your music at home. It doesn't have a CD player, so no time wasted there. GM knew us Corvette guys weren't going to spend too much time listening to the radio in our Corvettes. We'd rather hear that. So there's no CD player. There is a really nice touchscreen system with Bluetooth and Apple CarPlay, pretty much any interface you really want. If you're still stuck on CDs though, maybe a Corvette, or at least a current generation Z06 is not the right way to go for you. If that's going to keep you from one of these cars, you're probably not the right person for it anyway. I'm not going to list this as a negative, because on the highway in eco mode, it really does get fantastic gas mileages for a V8, or for any car for that matter. But I do find myself getting gas pretty often. I do it to myself, so whatever, but I spend too much money on gas. So fingerprints are terrible on this car, so what I find myself doing is kind of using the end of my shirt to open the gas door. So just a little tidbit. Except for when it's locked like that and the gas door won't open. Something to consider when turning on or off the passive locking is that's an issue. Whenever you get out of the car and shut the door, it locks. That should at least get us a few more miles. I want to be clear, In this video, I'm not leaving out the fact that this car has a ton of power and it handles great and everything. I'm just sort of working on the assumption that everybody already has a pretty good idea of all that. So what I'm talking about is just more experience-based, things that you might not know unless you had one of these or unless you've driven one for probably more than at least just a day or two. I hope this video can be somewhat helpful for somebody out there that's maybe thinking about pulling the trigger on one of these cars and they're just not sure, want to know about any quirks, any negatives. Being with this car 2 months, I thought by now surely I would have found something that actually sticks out to me that I truly, genuinely don't like. And I can honestly say, at this point at least, there's still nothing like that. I look around and I'm trying to think of something still, and I know there's no such thing as the perfect car, but to me this is basically the perfect car. I mean, granted, it's sort of to my spec. I picked everything out, from the color of the interior to the stitching to the wheels to the stripe around the wheels. So it'd be pretty hard for me to be dissatisfied. The only thing I would be unhappy about would be quality issues like rattles. Granted, we did have the paint defects that started out the whole relationship with this car with, but that's taken care of, and that was more of a factory issue than this car as a whole. That was kind of a one-time deal in my opinion. I'm sure there's really not a whole bunch of Corvettes out there making it out of the factory with a big spot on the front bumper that doesn't have paint. I say all that to say that in my opinion, if you want to spend your money on a car to have fun with, and that's the goal, not to have a car for utility that you're going to go take long road trips in. Now this is a great road trip car, it's just not something that you're going to want to deal with a bunch of weather and everything. I don't know if you just heard that, but that's one thing maybe to talk about, is every rock that you hit with these tires is picking it up and it's throwing it somewhere, and you're going to hear it. Freak you out, but you're going to hear it. So it is what it is. Can't really do much about that. That's why I say I got this car to drive, not to look at. There's things like that that are just unavoidable. They're just going to happen. These ladies at the school zone really hate me. Every time they hear my car, they're convinced that I'm going too fast. You can't see it right now, but I'm going 16, bouncing between 15 and 16 miles an hour. And yet this lady up here is guaranteed to blow her whistle at me. Oh, okay, well, it's a different lady than normal. Of course I wouldn't be able to get it on camera. The 4-mode exhaust is one of the greatest things that I've ever had in a car. I wish now that every vehicle I'd ever had it. Especially my Subaru. When I come in late at night, I know my neighbors are hating me. If any of you guys are watching this, I'm sorry. I apologize. I know it's loud, but I love it. But this car, I have the option. I've got Stealth, Touring, Sport, and Track. Or I could just have it automatically select with whatever mode I'm in. 90% of the time, it's going to be in track mode. The outer 2 exhaust tips are going to be way dirtier because those are the non-muffled ones. The only time I go into stealth mode, and really the other 2 modes rarely get into use, but the only time I go into stealth mode is if I am going into my neighborhood late at night. I don't want to wake anybody up. I don't want to wake any kids up, especially if they got school in the morning, or young children if their parents have just gotten them in bed. I try to be as considerate as possible. I think that's kind of important when you're the kind of the neighborhood car guy. Everybody knows it's you. You're not getting away with anything. No matter what time you pull in, people live beside you. They know what your car sounds like. One thing you might not expect, at least I didn't expect, when I'm driving on the interstate or just kind of doing my own thing, everybody leaves me alone. Nobody wants to do a pull. Nobody even really messes with me. So for anybody that's expecting every sport bike and Honda and everything that goes by to come up to me and rev, it just doesn't happen. I don't know if that's because they're expecting me to be a lot older than I am or what, but at 22, I kind of expected a little bit more action in this car. Not that I want to go to jail or anything, but at least if somebody would give me the time of day, that would be nice. But I know in my Subaru, I can't drive around for 10 minutes without a Honda coming by and revving his engine. I'm sorry if you're a Honda person. I just don't like the noise, man. Jeez. I wish I did. I want to like them. I really do. I had an S2000. I want to like all Hondas. Oh God. I just don't. I love making evil noises through the parking garage. One thing I don't like about parking garages is when people don't know how to park in those garages. Alright, you got it this time. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and park right in front of a Mustang. Just let him know I like scaring horses. That's gonna be all the time I've got today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have way bigger plans for Corvette Wednesday, so don't judge it off of this just yet. This is just the first run. If you have any questions or anything that you would like to let me know, do throw it down in the comments. Shoot me an email. All the information is gonna be down there. Visit my website, www.tnspeedtv.com. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and I will see you next time.